Hi again, it's me, Kaya, and today we're going to be talking about depression and the pacemaker of the brain, which I think is very interesting. I came across it this morning. It's really interesting because I think in this age, definitely, seems to be a lot of mental health issues, whether it's anxiety, depression, bipolar, it seems to be more prevalent now than it ever did before. Maybe that's because of COVID, the pandemic, maybe. Apart from psychologists, now biomedical engineers are going into the route of mental health. I think that's quite revolutionary and interesting, and I absolutely love it. I guess we're just going to discuss what is depression, things surrounding depression, like symptoms, what part of the brain triggers it, the current methods of treating depression, and the new way, the biomedical engineering way. I don't know why I'm quoting that. And then just how it will affect the future, and is it good, is it bad? Debates at the end, which I think is always good to do in engineering, because you can have a great product, but that doesn't mean that everything's sorted and that everyone's life is perfect after. There's always a good and a bad. So let's go. So depression, let's explain it like this. Depression is a neurological disorder, which basically simplified is like neurotransmitters and brain, basically, where you have a prolonged period of low mood. And it is okay to have low mood in short dosages across your life. Like after a trauma or like a significant negative experience, it's fine to have a depression. But when it's prolonged and it's lasting almost the whole lifetime, that's when it's a problem. So this is where psychologists come in and try to prevent things. My mum is a psychologist, so she always taught me that being depressed is fine, but the thing that they're trying to manage is what's maintaining it, not the actual disorder. Yeah, I think that's quite interesting. So there are many theories of how depression begins. Usually it's sparked by a social event, so things that happen to you in your life, trauma, things which usually triggers something in your mind. And since your thoughts are so powerful, mega powerful, it affects your brain chemistry, and you're left with barely any dopamine in your pathways, which leaves you feeling depressed and worthless and things. So before going into that, let's do symptoms. So increased or lowered appetite, problems sleeping, too much or too little, low mood, obviously, feeling worthless, social impact on friends, loss of interest of things you enjoy. So lots of things like that. And to think that all occurs just from a decrease in a chemical in your brain is amazing, but unfortunate. So there are obviously parts of the brain that are affected by depression, and I have a few written to the side of me. There's the amygdala, which is the part of the limbic system, which I believe is the evolutionary system, to do with survival. It manages your emotions, so things such as anger, and also holds or is triggered by emotionally charged memories. Interesting. We also have the hippocampus, which is in charge of long-term memory, which is also part of the limbic system. So I guess, yeah, if not enough neurotransmitters are getting to that part of the brain, then your memory is going to be affected. And we have the thalamus, which is in charge of sensory info. So all of these parts are affected in depression. There's probably more parts, but these are just the ones I found on the internet. So since we know there are social aspects to depression and biological explanations to depression, there are obviously two different types of treatments for it. So we have one side of treatments which are more to do with changing your thought process. So CBT, which is cognitive behavioral therapy, that makes you challenge your negative thoughts and make you think in a different way. Counseling, where you just talk through all your emotions. Psychotherapy. And then we have the other end of the spectrum, antidepressants, which increase dopamine levels and also serotonin levels, even though dopamine is the main cause of depression, having low amounts. that's what causes the low moods and mood swings and things, all those symptoms. If that's increased, then hopefully those symptoms at least decrease or go away. And increasing serotonin is found to increase moods and make people happier in general as well, so that's good. Brain surgery that seems to be one of the only biological therapies or treatments for depression. But now we've come across pacemakers in the brain, which I read is to be like a credit card sized, so about this big. I don't know how that would fit in your head, that's quite big. Yeah, credit card sized device that is fitted in your brain. It is implanted along the pathways of where dopamine should go, or the most affected part of your brain during depression, and it triggers electrical responses. Since our brain is just basically lots of small electrical signals going everywhere, it triggers an electrical response in your brain, which triggers dopamine and activity in that part of the brain that is not so active, which creates the effect of you feeling happier, since that part of the brain that was not so active before is active, if that makes sense. And I just think that's really interesting because I'm not sure how they tested it. The testing of it seems interesting. It's quite relatively new. I read the news, it said it was like it's at the beginning of October, which is basically this month. So it's quite relatively new, and I want to know how they tested it. And I also want to think about future terms, as I've read news articles, which I'll link down below, how people are like cured from depression and how symptoms have gone away and things like that, which is great. I appreciate that. That's astonishing. But in terms of long term, there are other parts of your life where you're supposed to be depressed, like after, like say a significant one passes away, or after like a job loss, things like that. You're meant to have emotions and feel that way. So if you have this implant, I don't know if there's a way to turn it on and off, but does that mean it affects the way you interact with other situations? Because that may be a problem. If you can't interact with situations that are meant to be emotionally vulnerable, then are you really a human anymore? Because I think that's what we are, just social humans and emotionally intelligent, empathetic people. This may be a better outcome than antidepressants. I'm not sure how expensive it may be, or I don't think people want to be like invaded in their brain through surgery or anything. I'm not sure if surgery is needed, but by the sounds of a credit card sized card, I'm sure you'll need surgery. But yeah, I think antidepressants have way many side effects, such as like weight gain and irritabilities. So I think it's good that they're coming up with other biological explanations and like ways to solve the problem. But I think the most effective way is defeating the problem from where it stemmed, which is usually like the social aspect. So there's been like many successes of cognitive behavioral therapy and things working out in people's favor, because as I said in the beginning, thoughts are the most powerful thing. I saw in a psychology like page at some point that one negative thought sum up to 5 positive thoughts, and your mind thrives off negativity. So and it holds on to negativity. So if you can change that behavioral pattern, then it's likely to help with depression. And also there's like a diagram that my mum showed me as well, that your thoughts affect your feelings, which affects your body, which affects your behavior. And I think that's true, because if you start feeling upset over a test that you failed, you probably won't be talking to your friends, and you'll stay in bed, and then you'll start to feel butterflies in your stomach and feel low mood, and it all affects everything, which is why I still believe CBT is quite an effective method, but I'm glad we're finding other solutions to it. So yeah, that's the end of the video. This is all my research, so if you want to find things that I didn't talk about, do your own research and rely on credible sources rather than myself, because I interpreted the information how I wanted to. So yeah, that's going to be something I'm going to say in every video. You're allowed to have your own opinions, you're allowed to take things the way you want to, but please don't rely on everything I say, because I'm interpreting things just like you're interpreting things. So that's the end. Please like, subscribe, leave a comment, interact, tell me what you liked about this video, what you didn't, what you want to see more of, what science topic is intriguing to you. Yeah, I'm just proud that biomedical engineering can find a way into not just medical situations, but also mental health. So yeah, thanks for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.